All right, let's bring you other news now. The ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal wants the party to withdraw from the provincial government of unity. It accuses the coalition partners of sabotaging ANC-led departments and municipalities. The KZN ANC Youth League's spokesperson, Sanele Hlongwa, joining us tonight for more on exactly what it is that they are unhappy about. Mr. Hlongwa, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. Let's start with your reasons for the ANC to pull out of the government of provincial unity in KZN. What is it that you're unhappy about?
Evening, Toli, and also the viewers at home. As the ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal, we have sat down and deliberated on several issues that are affecting young people across the province, but also analyzing the political dynamics and also the operation of the government of a provincial unit. And we have realized that it doesn't serve the purpose of servicing people in KwaZulu-Natal. So we have decided to the ANC to go back and reflect and go to the opposition benches if it needs to be, because we assume initially that the establishment of this government was the government that was having a plan on how to respond to the issues that are affecting people of KZN. But clearly, that government is a government to liquidate the ANC and to fight political battles other than to service the people. So since we have never witnessed any magnitude and serious intervention to the crisis faced by the lives of the KZN people, who have realized that the ANC need to go back, sit down, because the mandate and core mandate of the ANC is to service the people. If therefore they are part and parcel of the government that does not service the people, they must just stay at an opposition benches and become an effective opposition, other than being in government but not servicing the people.
Well, we can't assume that your standpoint or your argument is going to find favor with the mother body in KZN. Have you spoken to them, and what is their attitude?
We have started, before we even went to a point where we go to a media press, we have engaged through the internal processes, the ANC. Obviously, we have not yet agreed. We have not yet had enough meetings on the basis that there was this tragic loss that we had suffered as the ANC, whereby we lost Comrade Natim Mthethwa, may his soul rest in peace. So at the moment, there have been those corridors engagement, but we did have a meeting with the PTT where we raised our concerns, the ANC Youth League. Now, that is why we are escalating them, so that we ensure that they hear our views and we state our factuals as to why we are calling for this marriage to break down. Because part of the reasons, Oli, you remember that in KZN, we are suffering the most in terms of the illegal immigrants. They are running along our streets, but there is no plan, there is no proper plan from the Office of the Community and Liaison, which is under the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. There is no plan how to tackle that. And these illegal immigrants, they are supplying drugs across our streets. They are hijacking, they are staying in the hijacked buildings. Those buildings, we are saying they must be converted and become student accommodation, because that's another crisis whereby we don't see our KZN government having any plan to respond to the issues that are affecting young people. That is why we say, if the ANC is there but not in a government which does not service the people, the ANC must stay on the opposition benches and let anyone lead government who are going to lead as an effective opposition instead.
The IFP, which is leading the government in KZN through Premier Tamintuli, they could come back and say, but the people you complain about who are undocumented nationals on our streets, that's the legacy of the ANC that has been governing KZN for many years. It doesn't just happen now. What would your response be?
My response will be that when you go to the people whom you want them to vote for you, you present your manifesto, you understand their issues that they are facing. While understanding the issues that they are facing, you provide them the plan that this will be my solution in responding to these issues. They knew before they contested the elections that there is this crisis. Now they can't tell us that just because they're in government, they are going to blame. They presented the plan to the people on how to respond. They must respond to the issues. So if they are not having any plan to respond to the issues, regardless of the period, because they can't tell us that they want to spend 10 years to respond to this issue. By the way, in KZN, when the ANC government took over in 2004, we took over already, this crisis has already started. So if we failed as the ANC to respond to this issue and people decided not to vote for us, then we are saying, if the IFP can't commit the same mistake, then claim to take back and say it's the ANC that did 1, 2, 3, 4. This affects every youth member that is in the KZN province. It affects everyone in every area where we are residing. Yeah. Our young people are consuming drugs. Crime is all over in KZN. Therefore, we want an urgent response. If that urgent response is not there, the ANC, if they can't provide solution together with the partners, we are not calling to say this one is better than any other. We are pro-youth agenda in this manner. We are saying anyone who is failing to solution to the young people, that person must stay out of power.
Mr. Hlongwa, I want to end the conversation on this point. Fine, you blame the IFP, particularly the Department of Community Safety and Liaison, for not having a plan in dealing with the matter of undocumented nationals in our country, or specifically in KZN. Let's talk about the departments that are under the leadership of the ANC, or at least members of the ANC. Education is under administration as we speak. Health, doctors have been on the streets of KZN saying that they don't have jobs, and yet they are told every day that South Africa has a shortage of doctors. What is their plan? Have they presented to you their plan in dealing with these two major crises?
In response to that, as the ANC Youth League, firstly, we want to indicate, firstly, the sabotage to some extent that we have noticed when it comes to the ANC departments from the office that led by Rogers, who is the T8 employee as the MSc of Finance, because we have realized that these departments that are led by the ANC, most of them are underfunded. Yet they are the ones that are major servicing the people of South Africa. So now, if those departments, because when you go to the Department of Health, the doctors are not working. Provide a plan. They have a plan. They don't have a budget. So you go to Department of Education, hire the educators. They tell you that, fine, we do have a plan to hire educators. We understand the crisis. We do have the plan to how do we respond to the crimes and cases that we realize the shortage of stationery from schools. But the crisis is the budget. Where you listen to the government of provincial unity, all the daylight cry, it always the budget. So we have realized that the crisis here, mainly it comes from that office of Rogers, where it defunds the department. Then it's a pure sabotage when it comes to that. Because most of the savings should be going to the people. But at the end of the day, if there is no money to fund those programs can't be implemented.
Babu Hlongwa.
Yeah, Baba.
You are crying sabotage when we talk about ANC-run departments. You will know that there has been budget cuts stemming from national. It's not Rogers sitting in the KZN Treasury that is defunding the Department of Education. These budget cuts come from national government. And add to that, the education department in this country, we say it all the time, it gets the lion's share of the budget. So even with the budget cuts, but the Department of Education, because of the importance that is attached to education in the country, it always will get a fair share. So where is this sabotage you're talking about?
All right. An honest response will be that of saying, that is why we are saying ours at the ANC Youth League, it is beyond our jurisdiction to call for national to intervene on certain matters. Our immediate government that services our people that we are leading as the ANC Youth League is the KZN departments and the provincial government that we are having in the province. Therefore, if we realize that there is no funding, there is budget cuts, and they can't implement programs as the ANC-led departments, go back to the opposition benches because you can't service the people. Because it doesn't assist for our officials, our deployees to sit in office while they don't have resources to work and respond to the crisis, to the cries of our people on the ground. Therefore, in the process of engaging in our struggle, we are still to meet our NEC of the ANC Youth League, engage them to further take this cry to the national government and also to the ANC NEC. If it needs be, our call will even go to a point whereby we call the total withdrawal of the ANC from that GNU. However, at the moment, we can't just jump the gun and go and engage about the GNU. If the crisis of funding in this government comes with the GNU, later our responsibility as the ANC League is to call for GPU withdrawal of the ANC. Then from then, we move our fight to the national. I will just give you a small example, Tony, that as part of responding to the illegal immigrants in KZN, we made our submission to the national that this is our plan as the ANC Youth League on how can we respond to this. But we cannot just come and say national, this is the implementation, because we are not a national structure, but we are a provincial structure. That is why when you address issues, you go step by step up until they get out of hand and escalate. That is where you take the decision which is beyond the imaginable measures. But at the moment, this is the start of our struggle. That is why we have to engage on the GPU, on our matters, because we are leading the provincial structure.
Sanele Hlongwa, thank you very much for your time this evening. He is the spokesperson of the ANC Youth League in KwaZulu-Natal.